A 7-hour delay that led me to rebooking a 6 a.m. flight departing the next day, with a stop in Charlotte, being told my luggage was already airborne to Miami when I certainly was not, and I should trust that it would arrive in Barbados wasn't exactly how I pictured my return to testing the waters when it came to traveling again. Perhaps it was some travel karmic joke, or simply a reminder that travel is messy, and trust, as the American Airlines agent said, is the lesson. And admittedly, it's a word that I have struggled with the last couple of years. But if anything can make you trust the process, the journey, the road, insert what you want, it's traveling. The 24 hours after my original arrival, I made it to Barbados. Emily Henry writes, "When you lose your happiness, it's best to look for it the way you look for anything else, by retracing your steps." Sometimes you find answers and solace in random places like a novel, and in characters like Poppy. And maybe because on some level, every travel gal can relate to her. At least I know I can, especially with her struggle of finally getting to live out her travel dreams, and suddenly, one day, it quietly sneaks up on her that it feels different than it used to. Or simply, putting it another way, what happens when all of your dreams come true. So maybe that's what I'm doing here, in a way, doing something that I used to love a lot, to see if the act of traveling sparks at least an ember of a version of who I used to be. Either way, I'm in Barbados, and I get to see my friend. People use the term island time negatively, but I think there is something quite magical about it. Time doesn't slip. It bends and stretches out with enough room for a morning dip before work, binge reading a book at the beach, listening to the morning breeze delicately shake palm trees, sipping coffee on your friend's patio. It gives you enough time to stroll along markets that have equal measure chaos and charm, to be swept up by live music in the evening, and have a realization or two. It gives you space to be more observant, to make things move slow enough so you're able to mark the moments. Like how the crash of waves sound uniquely different from beach to beach, offering new sounds. How your friend effortlessly maneuvers life here, full well knowing she had her fair share of challenges. And to realize that this is the same girl you met as an intern at a nonprofit in New York City. She is now thriving here, making new friends, driving a car, living in this cute bungalow, working, and making a life. It reminds you of the lesson you learned when you were 17 on your first trip to Europe, that there is more than one way to live a life. Island time gives you enough space for your mind to retrace not just the steps, but the points of your friendship. And you realize that they've also become markers of your own change and growth. The openness also makes you receptive to serendipitous moments. The rave in the cave just so happens to also be the week you are here. The group of teachers you meet at a bonfire, the woman on the market who tells you about her niece who passed away, and you give her a hug, one that she needed, and one that you also needed. She said she was glad she stayed. She was planning to leave soon, but decided against it, and now she knows why. And maybe this trip didn't fully lead to the spark you were looking for, but it did lead you to this. And chats with a friend about uncertain futures and the growing pains of trying to hold on to parts of yourself simply because they are familiar. And a bowl of pasta on the patio of her peach-colored bungalow on this island in the Caribbean.
A little disaster. It's perfect.